The US Open 2017 draws were released today. I'm going to go over these and discuss who I think some of the dark horses of the tournaments may be, as well as who I think some of the favorites are. Alright, so let's start with Rafael Nadal's side of the draw. If I'm being honest, I'm not really seeing a tough side of the draw here. I mean, I really don't even think that his toughest match comes until the quarters with a possible Grigor-Dimitrov battle. And yeah, Grigor is playing great this hardcourt season, but I think that if Rafael Nadal even makes it to the quarters, he's going to gain more confidence, I would say, as this tournament progresses. So I would never count out Rafael Nadal. He's a fighter, and he's one that I think has a really good shot of winning this title. He's not my favorite to win the title, just because of his past few tournaments on the hard court, but I definitely think you can never count out Rafael Nadal. Never. That being said, I just really think this is a weak side of the draw. I mean, you know, you're looking at even the seeds in this draw, and you have Gasquet, which he could possibly face in the third round. The issue with Gasquet, though, is that he has that one-handed backhand, and unlike Federer, who's kind of started to be able to figure out how to combat that with Nadal this season, I just don't think Gasquet has the weapons to really pressure Nadal, especially on that backhand side. We're looking at Berdych, who he's really, I think, a little too inconsistent in his play, and if you really look at his record against these top players, I just don't think that he would give Nadal much trouble. That being said, he did play really well during Wimbledon, although that is a different surface. All right, we're going to go to the next part of the draw, which is Federer's side of the draw, and I have to say, this is a really, really tough draw. He has Frances Tiafoe in the first round, who is a next-gen player, up and coming, who is he can be very dangerous, especially for the first round, especially because does Federer still have those back issues that made him pull out of Cincy? Is that going to play a factor? We don't know if Federer is 100%, and playing against a young kid with fresh legs, we're going to have to see what happens. But I definitely think that is going to be a pretty tough test for Federer first round, and it's really going to show where he's at as far as his health, as far as his back is for the remainder of the tournament. If he does get past that round, I think that he could easily make it to the round of 16, where he would possibly face Nick Kyrgios, who is extremely talented. He can beat anyone on any day, just depending on how he's playing. I mean, he has the game, he has the potential. It's just the attitude is the one issue, and you just don't know which Nick Kyrgios is going to show up. And Federer will stay calm and collected throughout the match, which would help him, especially in a best-of-5 setter, where Kyrgios may fade away towards the end if they play each other. But like I said, it's kind of a toss-up. I would give the edge to Federer, but the way Nick Kyrgios knows how to play, it just I wouldn't be surprised if he really pushed Federer. If he even makes it to the fourth round. I mean, he's that type of player where he shows up in the big moments, but he has a really hard time showing up in the moments that don't necessarily count as much. And then if Federer makes it through, he could face Nadal in the semis, and that's going to be tough. I think a lot of people were wanting them to be on the other side of the draw so that they could possibly face each other in the finals, but it just didn't work out that way. So it's going to be interesting to see how this top half really plays out. If I'm going to make my prediction for the top half, making it through to the finals, I have to go with a Federer-Nadal semis. I mean, going against any of those two, the way that they've been playing this year, I can't do it. So I see both of them making it to the semis. If Federer is fully healthy, I think that he has Nadal's number this year so far. He's won against him 3 times in a row. They've all been on hard court. But I just feel like the way Federer has changed his game, where he's a lot more aggressive on the backhand side, he's able to give Nadal a little bit more pressure, and he takes the ball earlier. He doesn't resort to that slicing as much on that backhand side against Nadal anymore. So I really feel like Federer would have the edge if it came to them playing in the semis, but I mean, you look at their overall record and you can never count out Nadal. Hard courts are really interesting because they change every tournament, every season, and it's always dependent on conditions and a lot of other things. So we'll have to see how fast the court is, and if it is fast, I'm gonna have to say that's another advantage for Federer. Because you look at his game on grass, you look at how his serve has just kept on improving and how much he comes to the net now. That's always going to be an advantage for Federer. So let's keep going and let's look at Alexander Zverev's quarter of the draw. And you know, when I say it doesn't look tough, I'm not counting out any of these players. Some of these players are really quality players that at any moment could really make a run, especially the U.S. Open. The U.S. Open the past few years has kind of been that slam where we've had those breakout performances from certain people like Del Potro and Cilic. So you can never count out some of these people. Kevin Anderson's been playing some really good hard court tennis. Cilic is always dangerous when he's fully healthy and he has a serve going. We don't know how his foot is after Wimbledon, though. I'm going to have to go with a Cilic-Zverev quarter, and the way that Zverev's been playing, I mean, he has to have that breakout moment eventually, and it's going to come. And I think he's playing with a lot of confidence right now. He's won 2 tournaments out of the past 3 that he's played. So, I mean, I think he has a really good shot of making the quarters and then making the semis, and we'll have to see from there. But if it is Murray that he faces in the semis, we don't know if Murray's 100%. Murray may still be injured. He hasn't really played a lot these past few months, and you know, not just the fact that he's been injured, but how fit is he to play under these conditions with the hard court? How much real practice has he gotten under his belt since the hard court season started? Murray's kind of the wild card right now. I don't know if he'll be able to make it to the semis, but we'll have to see. Let's look at his draw and see what he has ahead of him. I'm seeing Murray having a pretty good first round. I think against Sandgren, his play style, that'll be a really good warm-up match for him. I don't see Sandgren giving him very much of a challenge, but it'll also really show if he's fit. It's actually really beneficial for him because if he is 100%, he really just needs to get, you know, those reps in and to kind of get comfortable with the hard courts this season. That's a perfect first round to kind of get him in the rhythm and get him start going for the rest of the tournament. You have David Ferrer, who's been playing great this hard court season, and I think that's actually going to possibly be Andy Murray's first real test. So if I'm looking at this draw and I'm going into quarters, I think that Federer overall has the toughest draw out of the top 4 seeds. I think Nadal has, if I'm being honest, a pretty easy road to the semis. And that's really not just saying the quality of players, but also his play style comparative to those players. I just don't think there's a very real threat there. That being said, look at some of the players he's lost to on the hard court season this year, especially, you know, since after Wimbledon, at Cincy and at Montreal. So you never know. One of these people could be looking for the upset, and they could potentially upset Nadal. If I'm looking at the top 4, if I'm looking at a semis here, I'm not going to go against Nadal and say that Nadal is going to lose before the semis, but I do think if Federer is fully healthy, I think that Federer would beat Nadal and make it to the finals. And on the other side of that, looking at Zverev, Zverev's side and Murray's side, I really feel like I'm just not completely sold on Murray being 100% for this tournament. I haven't seen any indication that he's 100%. I'm going to have to go with Zverev coming out of the bottom half of the draw. So the way I have it right now is I have a Federer-Zverev final, which I think would be a very interesting matchup. The 2 times that they have played this year, not including the exhibition earlier in the year, it's gone one way Federer, one way Zverev. You can argue the fact that in Montreal, Federer tweaked his back, he wasn't 100%. But on that note, Zverev did beat him the first set, and it looked like Federer was fine the first set. It looked like he didn't tweak his back until the second. So take that how you want, but I do believe that Zverev has the game, and if he has the consistency and the power there, he can challenge anyone any day. But Federer is an intelligent player. He's going to learn from his mistakes. He's a very tactical player. He's going to try to dismantle the game. He's going to try to find out what's working, and then he's going to just keep replicating that. So I think it's going to be a tough match if that's what it ends up coming down to. If I had to pick a winner right now, I would say Federer is my favorite to win the tournament. And my dark horse, I know you're going to say, but he's not really a dark horse, but he kind of is I'm going to have to say Zverev, because even though Zverev is the 4th seeded player in this tournament, he's never won a major. He's never even really come close to winning a major. He hasn't had that breakout slam performance yet, and it's coming. Whether or not it's coming this year at this US Open, that's the real question. So we're going to have to wait and see, but those are my 2 picks. What are yours? Tell me in the comments section below. Who's your dark horse? Who's your favorite to win? Tell me why. Let's have a discussion, and thanks for tuning in. See you next time.